Well, I'm going to talk to you about hopefully a Notre Dame offense that'll be hot right out of the gate, and they've got a tough first task taking on a very, very good Texas A&M defense. At least on paper, it looks like it could be outstanding. So I'm really curious to get your take on the wide receiver position, in particular, Beaux Collins, the transfer portal player from the Clemson Tigers. Tyler, he was a player that came out of high school that was highly acclaimed. I don't know if he fully reached his potential with the Clemson program, and now he joins a Fighting Irish football team with a big batch of intriguing wide receivers. I'll say first, when they got Beaux Collins, I thought, you know what, that's a really nice extra piece. Maybe he's going to be a really good depth piece if you have injuries, a guy that can come in and contribute to this team. I guess I never imagined he might be a starter, and who knows what his role is going to be, but you and the Notre Dame media had the chance to talk to Marcus Freeman recently. What did you take away from the way Marcus spoke about Beaux Collins?
And the first thing that jumps out to me about that is, holy cow, Notre Dame does have all of these different pieces. And that's where what Marcus said to us just a couple of weeks ago kind of sticks out, because you do have the 4 or 5 returners and then the 3 freshmen and then the 3 transfers. And when you asked Marcus just kind of open-ended, broad question about this Notre Dame wide receivers group, of which there are 11 scholarship players now, he kind of went straight to Beaux Collins, and he said, Beaux Collins is a guy that gives us something that we didn't have last year. Now, of course, health impacted that, because I kind of view Beaux Collins and Jaden Thomas in a similar light, Darren, where they're both lengthy guys on the outside, but they're not the fastest guy on the field. Maybe strength and separation is their strongest attributes once you kind of throw it up, because we saw Jaden Thomas in some of those games, especially if you go back 2 years ago, when he's healthy, he just kind of wins some matchups on the outside and you can throw it up to him. I think that Marcus Freeman thinks that Beaux Collins is that type of guy, maybe even with a little more speed than Jaden Thomas as well. And if you add strength on the outside, you're going to win your matchups, and speed. Well, what do you have? You have a bona fide boundary receiver, someone that you throw on the outside and say, hey, go win your matchup every single time. So we were talking before we even got on this call, Darren, that we're not sure we saw all of that from Beaux Collins at Clemson, but I think that was kind of the product of a Clemson offense ever since Trevor Lawrence walked out of that room that has not been very good. I mean, DJU in that one year that you saw it when Clemson came to Notre Dame, that offense was just not very good. And then, of course, Cade Klubnik struggled a little bit in his freshman season. So I don't think that offense has been firing on all cylinders for a couple of years. And Beaux Collins was right in the middle of all that. Bring him to Notre Dame with all of these different wide receivers, the running game. If Riley Leonard is exactly what everyone in the Goog thinks Riley Leonard can be, then, hey, maybe you're going to see Beaux Collins' best year as a college wide receiver in 2024 at Notre Dame.
I don't know if you felt the same way, but in the spring, when there was a discussion that the Irish offense would like to use 5 or 6 wide receivers in a rotation, I didn't have Beaux Collins in those 5 or 6. So I think this is a really interesting development, and it just shows you, Tyler, this is going to be a heck of a wide receiver competition taking place. It's probably going to be overshadowed by the quarterback competition, but there's a lot of guys battling for those 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah, it's like, I think we all felt like prisoners of the moment in Notre Dame's spring practices, because on one shoulder, you knew that Notre Dame is going to have 11 scholarship wide receivers, and this is going to be the deepest room that this team has had in years. On the other shoulder, you're like, okay, well, some of these freshmen aren't even here yet. Beaux Collins is here, but he can't practice yet. Jaden Harrison gets hurt. Jaden Thomas got hurt again. So, like, you were still working with that small faction of players that Notre Dame, unfortunately, is very used to. So you saw Micah Gilbert come out and shine, and you saw Jaden Greathouse be the healthiest that he had been since last fall camp and spring practice. So that's why I think, Darren, I agree with you that you weren't really thinking, okay, 6 guys, Beaux Collins is in there, because we haven't seen him do anything in a Notre Dame uniform yet. And you saw Chris Mitchell excel in spring practices, and a couple of the other guys that I just mentioned. So it's going to be a fight. As much as Marcus wants to, pump Beaux Collins up, Beaux Collins is going to have to fight for his reps in fall practice, because I think once you have all 11 of those guys on the field competing for reps in fall camp, that's when you're going to say, okay, here are the 6 and here are the 5 who are kind of on the outside looking in. So I think right now, based on what Notre Dame has in Thomas, in Deion Colsey, in Chris Mitchell, kind of some of those outside guys, Micah Gilbert being another one of those, it's not a for sure thing that Beaux Collins comes in and says, yep, I'm number one amongst all of these different guys. And that's what you get with depth. It's a good problem to have.
So fall camp starts July 31st. I'm going to set August 10th as the date, over or under, that Riley Leonard will be named starting quarterback. I'm going under or before. What do you say?
I'll play devil's advocate and go over. And that is really only because the past couple times that I've been here, even with Brian Kelly, and then Marcus Freeman had to do this a couple of years ago with the Tyler Buckner, Drew Pine battle. That mid-August, and when I say mid-August, you're talking like 13th through 17th, somewhere in there. That seems to be the sweet spot where you're 2 weeks into practice, but you're also 2 weeks away from the start of the season. It's like a good sweet spot to say, okay, this is our guy. But the caveat in that is, Darren, they're going to know that Riley Leonard is healthy and Riley Leonard has all this experience. And by August, heck, man, there's people in that building that know it right now on June 17th. But I would say by like August 4th or 5th, once you get 5 practices in, they're going to be like, okay, yep, this is our guy. If he stays healthy, he's starting against Texas A&M.